Welcome to Plans Are Booked, a podcast for every reader. I'm Molly Geller.
I'm Stephanie Blackburn.
We are a duo today. We are chatting about Wasp's Nest by Kat Stoddard, which I'm so excited to talk about. But before we deep dive on our book du jour, what is going on this beautiful sunny day in June?
I want to talk a little bit about having lovely coworkers. A bunch of my books came into the store last week. Aside from one, all the others were bought by my coworkers, which I so appreciate. They have all been like kind of taken by surprise by the fact that I gave them all shout outs in my acknowledgement section, to the point where like I've had private conversations with people who are like, I can't believe you wrote about me in the book. I don't know. I guess because I'm viewing it from like the whole, the usual of me feeling like it doesn't count because it's not a trad published book. So therefore, like, why would they care if their name is in there? And clearly they're seeing it differently than I'm seeing it, which is a good reminder that, you know, I'm seeing things from one perspective and there's like a different view. But beyond that, while I am blowing through this new book, I have decided to return to querying the road trip book. I started doing that again yesterday.
Whoa!
Sent out a batch. For those who are listening and like maybe are new and haven't started from episode 1 of Plans Are Booked, I self-published 4 books back in my 20s, early 30s, I think, and got pretty disheartened. It was a different landscape back then and just felt kind of like, what am I doing this for? Like I love to write so much, but it's the selling side of it that just kind of breaks my heart. And I already have mental health issues. So I took a break from that for quite a while and did scripts, which you guys read, and just kind of had fun with it and entered some contests, and nothing really came of it. And then 3 years ago, I wrote Golden Hour and decided to try querying again. I queried 133 agents. So anytime I see an author who's like, I queried 10, it was so like distressing. I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. 133. Sometimes I like to go into my Excel spreadsheet and just look at all the red or the blank for the people who didn't even respond.
I will say, Steph and I have discussed this. Caro Claire Burke, the author of Yesteryear, when her book was published and on the New York Times bestseller list, proceeded to screenshot the rejection emails from querying this very book and was like, if you're out there and you're on this journey, keep going.
I love that as like from, you know, like a vengeful standpoint. But anyways, with Golden Hour, after a year of querying and hearing a lot of crickets, but believing in the story, I decided to pause, and then I wrote another book, and I queried that a little. That was over a year and a half ago. And then I started to feel really down about it. You know, some of the books that we have read are mediocre.
I'll say it. It's uncomfortable for you to say it. Some of the books that we have read are not as good as Stephanie's writing.
And that's anywho, so uncomfortable for me to say. But I would read some stuff and be like, why did this get picked? But no one wanted to read my book. And so I paused that. And then I decided I'm going to try and go the self-publishing route again with Golden Hour because I believe in it. And if I can just get it into the right hands of like readers who would love these characters, then that's the thing that's going to like pick me back up and fill my cup, even if I don't have like a publishing deal. So that's what I did. And this other book, which we have been referring to as the road trip book, although I have named it and you guys don't know the name because it's not what we were toying with, but I'm like holding that close to my chest just as like a jinxie person. So I decided in the midst of what I'm writing right now that I'm gonna, in the meantime, with what free time, I don't know, I'm going to start the querying process again for this and hope that like maybe this is the right time for an agent to be like, I'd love a second chance, friends to lovers, road trip romance. That feels like the thing I need to work on right now. So
I'm putting all the good juju out into the world. I think all of us I think Keelan would agree, feel Golden Hour is a really special book, and that it is getting into the hands of people more and more every single day, and that is going to help build the groundswell that will make possible whatever is the next thing that you decide to put out into the world. And if it's this road trip book and someone is like, yes, that's exactly what we've been looking for. Yes, that's exactly the kind of story we want to have with our imprint. All the better. Look at all of the other authors who have one book kind of pop off, even though they had many before that. And all of a sudden, the whole backlog is climbing up the list because people want to read more of whatever that person has published.
Mm-hmm.
That's my vision for you, is that whatever query is most successful and gets to go the traditional route, that all of the other stories get to either be republished under that same imprint, or that more people find them in the places that you've made them available in order to devour more of your writing.
Well, to that end, someone in Germany and someone in Australia have bought some of my backlog books.
Really?
Yes. I saw that recently and I was like, huh.
Okay. I own all of these backlog books that we're discussing, and had I known we were going to chat about this tonight, I would have brought them all as visual props.
Oh, before we go any further, I need to shout out Emma Brody, whose crop top, I've been waiting weeks for, and it finally arrived. This is a Into the Blue, if you know type top.
Oh yeah, Summer of the Gothic Sex Mansion.
It's a true crop top, which is why I'm wearing high-waisted shorts underneath it.
Because we're in our 40s. I will say, as someone who works in the marketing realm, Emma Brody's commitment to this total package that landed at people's doorsteps. First of all, it was in a pink padded envelope, which matches the pink on the crop top. It was wrapped in blue sparkly tissue paper with a whale sticker and a hairdryer stationery. It's one thing to say, you know what, we're going to run with this merch idea because I own the intellectual property and I can. She could have just mailed them out in brown envelopes with nothing. And every single element of that package was so thoughtful, so curated. It's a masterclass in branding. And I said that to her. I was like, this is so cool that you wanted this to be like a wow moment for everybody that opened it.
But I also think it's because she loves these characters so deeply and dearly. And we talked about it in our conversation that there's a heartbreak when you're done with a story. And this is her way of getting to continue to live with them by promoting their story, continually. And also, anyone listening, please read Into the Blue if you haven't already.
Also, Into the Blue finally got its moment on one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Pie Lady Books, where she makes cakes inspired by book covers.
That is my dream.
It was outrageously beautiful. And I don't know how you make fondant look like it's moving, but she somehow did. I think it's one of the best ones she's ever done. Let's put that, Steph, on the vision board.
It's been in my mental one for a while, and I thought to myself, maybe I could offer to pay her just to get to see the boots and the mountains in edible form. I would probably cry.
Golden Hour, as translated by Pie Lady Books, would be like a massive bucket list item.
Yeah,
I love that.
What's going on with you?
Okay, I texted you about this earlier, but I need the listeners to also come into this moment. So I was walking on the beach this morning, as I do often when the weather is nice. I was listening to my off-campus playlist, and I was just cruising, like power walking. And all of a sudden, out of my right eye, I see a very Zayden Ryerson looking man. Tall, dark, handsome, tattoos, and he's reading a physical book. Many men on this beach, they're on their phones, they're ripping butts, they're setting up fishing poles.
I don't think I've seen a guy read while we've been sitting at that beach. Ever.
And you have been here many times. I almost tripped physically because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But I was in such a mode with the power walking. It's like I couldn't slow down. My body was like moving faster than my brain. So I thought, okay, I'm going to walk to the end of the beach. And when I reach the rocks at the end, I'm going to turn around and hopefully he'll still be there. I turn around. I'm getting closer and I'm like, I am sweating bullets. It's like 83 degrees. I'm already on mile 4. I'm like, this is not how I want to look while potentially introducing myself to a stranger. So I do what any girl with an iPhone would do. I take a picture of him
and put it in the group chat.
Sent it to the group chat. And I was like, I just found a shadow daddy reading on the beach. I can't believe this. Caitlin, of course, was like, turn around and go talk to him. I did take note of where he was sitting so that should I be there on another day where I'm not like mid workout and I'm actually like in my cute bathing suit traipsing around with different intentions.
Listen, here's the thing is like, I would never wish for you to trip, but like that could have been the best meet cute of all time. Don't you think?
Well, I was also thinking about how Dua Lipa and her husband, Callum Turner, met over a conversation about how they were reading the same book.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, like, could I try to manifest that conversation? I could not see what the book title was because I wasn't close enough to him. And the picture that I took,
I tried to zoom in. You couldn't.
The side of the book that you were seeing was the back jacket. So that made it even harder. But just by the looks of him, it wasn't Dungeon Crawler Carl because I know that cover by heart, but it felt like it would be something like that. Mm-hmm. And also, when I passed him originally and then passed him again, like 25 minutes had passed and he was still reading. He wasn't like doing something else, talking to someone else. He was at the beach to read. So
I love that for you.
Universe,
and for him.
If you hear this and you want that gentleman to just repeatedly show up on the beach, I would really appreciate it. And also a friend who I was telling about this said, did you have any plans or booked bookmarks? I'm like, it was in my workout clothes? No, I don't.
Oh my God, but what a great intro that would have been.
So now I do walk with like a crossbody bag that has like my keys and my phone and my water. Mm-hmm. And now I think I'm going to have to put like 1 or 2 bookmarks in there because, my other idea is, have you seen the Instagram account of the girl who walks around handing men Post-its? And it says things like,
saucy things on them.
Yes, like, I can't believe how sexy your glasses are, or I've never seen someone with such beautiful hair, or whatever it is. And I was like, I could also like pre-write a Post-it for him, and then I would just have it ready should I see him again.
Yeah, with your number on it.
Exactly. I spent a lot of today thinking about this. Also, for those who don't know, there's an Instagram account called The Hot Dudes Reading.
Oh, God, I love that account so much.
Yeah, sometimes they're on a park bench, sometimes they're on the subway, sometimes they're sitting on a stoop. Yeah, at a cafe. Anyway, this was a real life Hot Dudes Reading, and I just really needed it today. It was like, thank you for making this come into my line of vision so that I could imagine that someday I will date someone who reads.
The bar is so low.
Oh, the bar is way lower than that. Someone who reads is like several qualities into the list.
Oh, gosh, let's manifest.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share before we talk about our book of the day?
No, I just want to thank anyone who reads Golden Hour. Thank you for taking a chance on me.
Yes, and also, we talked about this a lot when the book first came out, but we don't always say it every episode. You can order Steph's book from any bookstore. You just go up to the counter and say you'd like to order Golden Hour by Stephanie Blackburn, and they can order it into the store for you. You can order it on bookshop.org online. You can also read it on Kindle if you're a Kindle reader. It's free if you're on Kindle Unlimited. And though we loathe to support Jeff Bezos, you can also order the paperback on Amazon.
Yeah, you can. You can.
So while that would be our last choice for you, if you do want to do it, it will help Stephanie. And for that reason, we will accept it.
Should we get into our book?
Let's do it.
I'm so excited. This is another book that I got free from work. The cover, which unfortunately I don't have right now to show the audience if you're watching, the cover just gave off summer pool beach travel book. And I thought, fantastic. And it was pretty thin. And it sat for a little while on my side table until you were about to get on a plane. And I was like, this is going to be perfect for you. And it is Kat Stoddard's debut. It is called Wasp's Nest, and it is a take on the 1940 movie The Philadelphia Story, which stars Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart. It is a story about God, it's about so many things. In a nutshell, it is about Tess, who is preparing for her second wedding on the Cape at her family's compound, if you will. And it is about her ex-husband, Peter, who gets an invitation to said wedding and is a little confused by why he would be invited, but is sort of talked into by a friend going on the auspice of getting some closure and kind of coming around to a place of acceptance. And as someone who is dealing with substance abuse issues, that feels like a good enough reason to go. Except that he brings a man he has just met to play the role of his boyfriend, even though they are not dating. And that is played by Mitch, who is our sort of artsy, down on his luck, making ends meet, working as a server, and just struggling to sort of figure out who he is. And the three of them kind of clash together over the course of this wedding week, not just a wedding weekend, a wedding week. And it is haves and haves nots. It is practicality versus artistry. It is remembering why you fell in love with someone and reconciling who that person is now and who you are now as a person, and thinking about why it didn't work out and maybe it could have if you had tried things differently. It is just a really beautiful story about love and family and found family, and it is so messy in the best possible way, and short chapters, which is the best when you are sitting by the pool with girlfriends or family and, can read quickly while someone has walked away from you, and then, set the book down when they come back to tell you about what they just saw in the water. So I'm hoping that everyone is going to bring this book with them on whatever sort of summer vacation trip or sitting at your pool. I think it would be fantastic.
I love a short chapter. That is that is my love language when it comes to reading. I really, it makes, because it lets you go, okay, just a little bit more. Okay, just a little bit more. Or as you said, take a break and revisit. You handed this to me and said, I know you're going to love this. And you hadn't had a chance to read it yet yourself. But I have talked about this many times on the pod. But for those who are new, family drama is one of my favorite genres. I was thinking earlier today if I could build a Mount Rushmore of family dramas. Okay, so I'll give one spot to this, The Wasp Nest.
Mm-hmm.
The other three spots go to This Is Where I Leave You, Instructions for a Heat Wave,
okay,
and The Nest, which is by Cynthia Sweeney, who actually has a new book out right now. I love siblings and parents just messing it all up. It is the most, I love being a voyeur to those moments and conversations and, pardon my French, fuck ups and then repair. I think that it's really a rich opportunity to understand how a person works, what they need, what they think they need. And Steph was lucky enough to interview Kat, and you'll get to hear that next week. But she said in your conversation that she loves this kind of storytelling because she thinks relationships are the richest way to describe who a person is and how they relate to other people. And in this case, you did a great job of explaining kind of the cast of characters. As I was reading, I thought this should be a stage play because this entire story takes place on this one family compound. They basically never leave except for a couple of tense moments.
Well, and at the beginning, you could quickly do the dinner party where Peter and Mitch meet and
Yes,
then change the stage. Yeah.
exactly. So Tess's brother is an agent of chaos and is the one who invited her ex to this second wedding.
When are siblings not an agent of chaos?
The second that it was revealed that he did that, I was like, I love him already. He
Mhm.
is like the Chuck Bass of this family, and I love
Mhm.
it. And Peter shows up with his faux beau, Mitch, and is emotional in a way where he's like, I want to be here, but I don't want to be here. I kind of need to see what's going on. I want to check in with myself that like I really am beyond this and over this. And also brings Mitch as kind of an FU to her and the family. And let's also, we haven't even mentioned this part yet. Tess and Peter were in a heterosexual relationship, and
Mhm.
he arrives with this alleged boyfriend, which also everyone needs to process.
Mhm.
And he is trying to figure out how much can he stand to be around Tess? How much is it sort of bringing up the old memories? Then you have Mitch, who feels like he wants to use this as inspiration for a book that he may write. And he's running around jotting stuff down, typing stuff up, and everyone's a little bit on edge because they're like, what is he doing with this information? Where is it going to go? What is happening? Tess also has issues with her fiance, which intensify as the story rolls on. It's just a really, I feel, accurate portrayal of what it is like to change as a person over the course of your adulthood and try to figure out if you can keep all of the people who were part of the different chapters you've experienced along the way, or if you really need clean breaks from certain people. Can you even make a clean break from certain people?
Mhm.
And it's a short book, but it packs a lot in.
I think it could also be like a 90-minute movie. Maybe like a 100-minute movie. I think you wouldn't miss too much if you had to sort of, shrink it down to that constraint, because I think we could do flashbacks to Tess and Peter and
Hmm.
their relationship and life together prior to the events of that week. I think you could do that very simply and not like need an entire episode on it. I think
Yeah,
there's very few books that I feel like you could actually do well in a movie. And I think this is one of them that you actually could do.
I think you're absolutely right. And there are scenes flashing back to when Tess and Peter first met
Mm-hmm.
that felt like they would be stunning on
Mm-hmm.
screen.
Mm-hmm.
And even though in the present day where they're, kind of tussling at the wedding weekend, the early moments of their relationship are actually very touching
Mm-hmm.
and shows you a completely different side of them than the version that you're seeing now. And to me, I could picture all of the characters pretty clearly in my
Mm-hmm.
mind. I think it would be so fun to cast them for a screen adaptation because they are so fully formed. Like,
Have you thought of who you'd cast? Because I'm now realizing who I would want to play Peter.
oh, say who's on your
Um,
short list.
I can't think of his name. He played the gorgeous fiance slash boyfriend in Crazy Rich Asians. Henry
Henry
Golding.
Golding.
Don't you think he would be perfect? Because Peter has like such a softness or like a gentleness to him. He
Mm,
is like, well, he's the artist and Tess is the sharp edged agent. Tess to me would be, oh my God, who'd be fantastic is from Ginny and Georgia.
oh, Brienne Howie.
Yeah, don't you think? Minus the southern accent. I feel like she could do the sharp tongued
Yes.
Massachusetts wealthy
Yes.
woman, and he would be the, thinks before he speaks and like
Totally.
waits a beat. And well, I'll just cast them.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I
But who
love
would
that.
play Mitch?
I was Oh, go ahead.
Jonathan Bailey.
Oh, interesting.
He's probably too old, but
Interesting. Okay.
if he's wearing his slutty little glasses.
Yes. I also want to talk about Okay, now I'm not going to be able to stop thinking about that. I also want to talk about the writing itself. There is a gift for description that Kat has that floored me. This is a very simple moment in the book, but I think it conjures such a strong visual that I was like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever written a paragraph that good in my life. Okay. Mitch pumps a stream of green apple scented dish soap into the kitchen sink. Beside him, Peter dries a cutting board with a gingham hand towel. Their hostesses troop to and fro over the hardwood behind them, collecting linens and snapping leftovers into Tupperware. It's nearing midnight. The other guests have left. They're down to a casserole pan and a handful of silverware left to clean. Mitch agitates a sponge along the blade of a butter knife and the tines of a fork before rinsing them. Agitates a sponge, snaps leftovers into Tupperware. These are like very intentional word choices.
You would never know this is a debut.
I chose that paragraph because it's about something simple, but it's so rich in the description that your imagination is there. You can picture and smell and feel every single element of that house party. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, no, she took her time with it. She treated this as like a business, even though she was working at the same time. She knew she wanted to go all in, and she clearly was very specific about everything that she chose. There's nothing frivolous, which could also be why the chapters are so concise and short, is because there's not like BS in there. It's very there's no like gristle, you know? It's the meat. That's it.
The other book we talked about fairly recently in a similar vein is Heart the Lover by Lily King. Another very short book with a huge emotional heft. Same thing. Very specific word choice, really concise, no fluff, nothing extra, just the emotion. And I just admire these women so much. It feels really inspiring to read this kind of writing and to know that, especially in Kat's case, there could be so much more to come. This is just the first book.
Oh, I'm so excited for her. I'm sure she has so many other ideas that are just, marinating in the background.
Totally.
I would like to read a paragraph that I loved.
Please.
That I think really sets you on Cape Cod, which I think is important for people who don't live anywhere near Massachusetts and have never been to Cape Cod. The hedges end and the drive deposits them into a picturesque park-like environment. Lush green bushes and trees, meticulously manicured, cover the lawn in borders and clusters like stiffly piped buttercream on an overpriced cake. Peter directs Mitch to continue past the clay tennis court and park in front of the main house, which overlooks the bay. 2 wings flank the original building, each large enough to accommodate several families in its own right. A guest house, perched above an open garage, sits opposite the tennis court. It has a small flower garden, still vibrant in mid-autumn, and a second-floor deck which faces the main house. The property is nearly as large and strange as it had appeared to Peter 8 years ago. Even though it's not like a summertime book, I just think this is perfect beach reading,
If you like the family drama vibe, this is a must for the summer TBR. It's so well done. And I always feel extra pride for someone when it's their debut and it's excellent. It really feels like whether you were sitting on the idea for 10 years or 10 months, to have this be the outcome of your first traditionally published book, it's just incredible. And she shares with you in your conversation so much about her writing process and about how this came to be and how she treated each of the characters in her mind and who came to her first fully formed and all of those things. And I think it'll be such a treat for all of you listeners after you hear this episode to next week be able to hear Kat in her own words talk about what this was like. And, you asked her, do you have a film agent? And she said, we would really love to make it happen. We would really love to see it come to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And she also talked about getting to cast the narrators for her audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And
What a fun experience. Can
how
you
freaking
imagine?
cool. That is so cool. And also, I am personally not an audiobook gal, and neither are you, but I do have a lot of friends who consume that way. And oftentimes, one narrator does all the voices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so cool that they decided to have this be multiple people
Mm-hmm.
because the chapters alternate who's narrating. And I think that would make it feel like a really amazing experience to hear
Mm-hmm.
all of those different voices as you move through the story.
Mm-hmm. I would also say if you are in a book club, this would be a perfect book because it's not it's not 400, 500 pages. So anyone, I mean, there are some people who show up to book club and maybe haven't finished the book. This would be an easy one to choose because everyone can get through it. It's that short.
Agreed. Agreed. So please support Kat. Get a copy of Wasp's Nest. Let us know what you think. If we are right and it comes for the screen, you'll say, "Oh, I knew about that because the plans are booked." And then you'll be excited to watch it when it happens. What are you reading now?
I just finished reading one of my coworkers' books, and I was terrified the entire time I was reading it because, you don't ever want to like ruin someone else's book. I don't like my own books. I don't care. Obviously, I take very good care of my books. I'm not like cracking spines or anything, but like, I just thought to myself, because this was the version she purchased, she is very good about buying books before they get traditionally published. So this book now is traditionally published, but she lent me the self-published version. And God, I didn't take it anywhere. It literally stayed in my room. I didn't bring it to work with me to read at lunchtime. I just thought to myself, she'll never forgive me if I ding this book in any way. It is Cowboy Casual by Holly Renee. It is the first in, what did we decide to call them? Where there's like a spin-off of a sibling.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't we come up with some sort of term for that?
Shoot, we did. And now I can't think of what that was. Oh,
well,
man.
the second book is out now.
Okay.
She asked if I wanted to borrow that one, and I was like, "Oh, I have too many in my TBR."
You're like, borrowing from you is too high stress. I can't take it.
But she's so cute. She was so excited to share it with me. One, because she knows I love like Western settings, but she also is just like so passionate about romance, which I appreciate. It is like the tale as old as time of a girl who gets scorned by a boy, and so she runs off and lives with her father. Even though the place she loves most is where he is, where her mom and her grandma live. She goes off, she goes to college, she starts working for her father's firm, and he has political aspirations, and she gets engaged to the wrong guy that off the bat is the wrong guy. And someone sends her pictures of her fiance cheating with his secretary, and she decides to run home to her grandmother, who lives coincidentally next door to the boy who scorned her when she was a teenager. And obviously, they're going to fall back in love. And there's horses and horseback riding and hot men who work hard in the fields all day. And there's a lake nearby. And it was everything that I needed to be in that moment. I just needed like 5 spicy peppers, saucy, summertime, sweetheart romance. It was delightful. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I feel like we got into the Jessica Peterson books. Cash is the first in the series. And I think once you've experienced the joy of the cowboy romance, it's really hard to stay away because it's just so, there's something about like the ruggedness, but also the chivalry. It's just, and the spice. It's just,
but I also don't like to read them like back to back. It's like I need them at a certain time when I'm just feeling like I just need to like, loosen and get comfortable and settle into the story,
I get it. I also just finished something. It's called Feels Like Summer. I'm going to hold it up for those who are watching. By Wendy Francis. I'd never heard of this author before. And this story takes place here in Hull, Massachusetts. And as soon as I heard that, I just bumped it to the top of the TBR. I was like, I have to know what it is like for a story to be set here. So, first of all, it's hyper local, and every single mention is of a place that I go and love and enjoy. The Local, the Parrot, Toast, Nantasket Sweets. It's like all the places in the Molly's Day-O Fun in Hull checklist. And it's the story of three sisters, and they each narrate alternating chapters. There's Shelby, who's divorced and is secretly having an affair with the town veterinarian.
Love that for her.
There's Kate, who lives full-time in Wellesley, but has a summer home in Hull. And while driving home from the New England Aquarium with her 3-year-old daughter on Atlantic Ave, sees her husband kissing another woman on the street and has to deal with the fallout of that. And then there's the youngest sister, Bree, who is in the midst of a breakup and trying to figure out if she's going to move on from that person or move, spend the summer with somebody new. And in the midst of all of them working through all of this, they arrive for Memorial Day weekend, and there's a body that turns up in the bay.
You could never tell from that cover that there's a murder in this story.
Yes, there's a murder in this story, a case being led by a female detective. It's just great. Like, it's really fun. It's really New Englandy. And I was guessing all the way until the reveal in the final 10 pages. I constantly thought I knew who it was. I thought I knew who the perpetrator was and who the victim was all along. And I kept being like, it's definitely this person.
Oh, you don't know who the victim is?
No, because they do the press conference without releasing the name. So you're your own little gumshoe all along. And it was very, very, very fun. And this is the crazy part. So like I said, a friend recommended this. I'd never heard of it. As it turns out, Wendy Francis has 5 other books. So it's nice to discover a new author and, as we were saying earlier, have the opportunity to move through the backlog. So I will definitely be keeping an eye out in the local South Shore bookstores to see if there's more of her stuff on display. I really, really enjoyed this. And it just is like a great beach read. And because of the mystery vibe, if you took it like on a plane or a train or a bus, you would just move through it very quickly because you're wanting to know what's going to happen.
Also a good summer read, I feel like.
Totally. And, you just never know when it's the first time someone is recommending a book to you and you're not sure if you have the same taste. That's what was happening here, where I was like, oh God, please let this be okay. And it was so great. And I couldn't put it down. And I just love that something was set here in this sleepy beach town. And, mostly the cops are responding to like a dog that got out of someone's backyard. It's just like, this is such a departure and was really fun to imagine. So if you're looking for something to add to your beach bag, feels like summer, Wendy Francis, highly recommend. Listeners, if you want to see every book that we talked about today, you can join us on Instagram at Plans Are Booked. That's where we share every single title we mention in every episode. If you liked what you heard or you want to share feedback with us, you can write to us. We are plansarebbooked@gmail.com. Please, we beg of you, if you love the show, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps people find the show. And per your requests, all of you, every episode is now on YouTube. So if you prefer to watch us and watch the whole thing, not fragmented the way we share smaller clips on Instagram, you can see full episodes on YouTube. We are youtube.com/plansarebbooked.
And until next time, our plans are booked.